I'm Logan Crawford, and right now on GBN, we're stepping up to the plate with an amazing book. It is called Honor the Diamond, and it's written by a terrific author. His name is Brian Altenbach. It is a heartfelt home run tribute to the life lessons learned through baseball. Drawing from his years as an umpire, the author highlights 6 essential character traits: courage, compassion, gratitude, humbleness, honesty, and faith. Traits that shape not only athletics, but outstanding human beings. We're delighted to have this very talented author join us here today. We thank the team at Atticus Publishing for helping us put him on TV today. And we ask viewers like you to support authors like him by subscribing to our channel and by purchasing his amazing book. The links are below this interview. Brian, great to see you here today. Thank you for joining me.
Logan, thank you for having me. It's an honor.
It's an honor to have you on the show. Let's talk about your life in baseball. When did it begin? I got a feeling you were like a little league kind of guy starting early on.
Well, actually, it kind of, considering my parents are only 20 years older than me, I was actually born on the baseball field, so to speak. I've been around the game my entire life. My dad has been my coach throughout the years. My first game that I ever umpired, I was 16 years old. I got called down away from my brother's game to help somewhere else, and just kind of grew and went from there. So, little spurts here and there in Little League, even helping out and coaching with my young kids, or my own 2 kids. And then after they, went on and they got their lives, I got a little bit more involved with high school baseball. But for the last 25 years, I've been involved with the Lehigh Valley, baseball, National Umpires Association, the Cal Ripken League in the Lehigh Valley.
You've learned a lot from being an umpire. What you say on the field goes. That's basically the law. Tell me some of the things you've learned about essentially being a referee on the field.
Well, kind of being on the field and a referee literally is about, for me, I've always taken it as an opportunity to educate the kids on the field, particularly at the Little League level. That's where one of those where the game, brings in a lot of struggles, a lot of challenges. You can see them struggling with them and hear that. And for me, I've always taken this as an opportunity to challenge them to reach inside themselves and say, hey, I can do this. I can get beyond this struggle or this challenge at this point in time. I can get back and give it my best effort. And that's kind of where I kind of came up with that. The bigger part with the character traits themselves actually came about watching parents kind of interact with their kids. And sometimes parents have a tendency to be a little bit more intense. So in order to reach out to them, I found a way that I wanted to be able to reach to everybody on there, not just the kids. So I found a speech that embodied 4 of those 6 character traits, and I give that speech before each of the games that I umpire.
Great. I think it's important. I mean, particularly today, I think when you and I were growing up, people did honor the ref, honored the ump, and respected him or her, and his word was gold. Nowadays, like you said, parents get over involved, kids can be rude. It has changed a little bit, don't you think?
I do, and exactly that's the reason why I figured that there was my role as being an umpire. I had to give something. I had to find a way to reach them, but also reach the adults all at the same time, but making it more like I was talking to the kids. And like I said, when I found that speech, I just ran with it, and I just got started, and I made sure that they get it. And that's how my nickname kind of came about. And I mentioned that in the book. They recognize me as the speech ump.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great.
It is. It's kind of neat when they come back. And there's a couple times I missed it, and I've actually been called out by some of the coaches and even some of the young players saying, "Hey, aren't you giving that speech today?" So that's where it kind of came back, and I'm like, "Well, I guess I have to."
How long is the speech?
It's very quick. It's probably maybe less than a minute.
And do you have it memorized?
Oh, absolutely.
Would you like to recite it for us?
Sure. What we do as we get the game started, we go over the ground rules, and they step up on the line, and we do the Pledge of Allegiance. We make sure that's done. And as soon as they're on the line, I sit back and I say, "Gentlemen, your character is more important than how good you are at any sport. Athleticism is temporary. But your character, the type of man you are, will last forever. Be compassionate, be grateful, be humble, be honest. Gentlemen, play ball.
Great. That is a great way to start the game. It sets the tone and does emphasize the right values that, your time in the sport as an athlete usually is limited, usually is done by either high school or college. But the person you are, the man you are, is something you'll carry with you for the rest of your life, the way you win or the way you lose. I mean, the attributes of a loser are are as important as the attributes of a winner, right?
I would say even more so.
Yeah.
Um, and I love baseball as my avenue here because for me, baseball exemplifies life to the fullest. Life in itself is always going to be met with many different challenges. And it's always going to be about how you respond to those challenges and how you conduct yourself and how you move on and move forward. Baseball is a game of error. Every pitch, there is a mistake. Whether people really realize it or not, there's a mistake. If a pitcher, throws a ball, guess what? The pitcher made a mistake. If he throws a strike and the batter doesn't swing at it, the batter made a mistake. If he doesn't, if the batter actually hits the ball, pitcher made a mistake. But now, we're getting the fielders that can make it and get them out. So now the batter didn't do a real good job with the batting. So every single play we have, there is some type of error or mistake that's been made, and it's always held back. And you come back after it. And I've always encouraged them, and I can see the kids coming through, and I'm like, "What's your next job? What's your next job? What's your next job?" And it's kind of neat to kind of see them kind of pull together and say, "Wait, yeah, there is more to this." And it's even better when that encouragement comes back and they actually win the game in some way, because of a play that they made. So it's kind of neat to see.
Absolutely. Which chapter or trait was the hardest to write about?
I'm going to tell you this in all honesty, the entire book was the hardest. Just because it probably sat in my head roughly for about 6 to 7 years. It was sitting in there, and I had my own little hangups about whether or not my message would be heard or not. And it came after a game where I had to throw out a coach because of behavior. And the next day, while I was working, ran into some colleagues that just didn't exemplify a lot of good character. And it was at that point where I said, enough is enough, get it done. And that's ultimately what ended up happening. I started writing at that point, and it really flowed. It really did. Between August and December of 2023, it just came out, revisions, making it sound, but it literally flowed itself together as I worked with my editor.
Yeah. You give the speech to the guys on the field, but it's often the parents in the stands and on the sidelines who need the speech. I guess they hear it as well. Is it over a PA system? And what would you like to say to the parents out there who are overly involved, who are micromanaging, and who are playing sideline ref or ump, and that's not fair?
Well, you're right. No, we don't have a PA announcer, but my voice, if you can hear, there is a bit of a baritone there, and it does carry. So I make sure I'm loud enough that the fans hear it. I usually have had some family members or grandparents and say, the parents need to hear that more. And I looked at them and I said, why do you think I say it? And where it comes down to the message that I have for the parents, let the kids make the mistakes. And where I can really kind of make this equation here is as we're helping the kids try to ride a bicycle and they fall off, we can't take that pain away. We can comfort, we can give them suggestions on what to do and how to do, but we have to get them back on the bike. We have to get them back doing and allow them to learn from those mistakes. And I think a lot of times parents, particularly in baseball, and how there is a tendency for people to relive their own childhoods that way, that it's like, it's not ours. Our time's done. Now it's our time to help guide and help create that gentleman or that character within that child on and off the field.
Yeah. I think you hit the nail on the head there. It's not little Johnny who's playing in Dad's mind. It's Big Daddy who's out there again. And he wants to get the calls in his favor. And it's just not right. And like you said, children are getting the wrong message if parents intervene too much. And there are as many lessons or perhaps more to learn in failure than there is in success, right?
Absolutely. And I mean, part of where it came about and how the concept of the book came about also comes about from my work as a licensed therapist. I work in a correctional facility as well. And even there, my whole premise is about personal accountability. It's about what you're going to do. Yeah, you may have these mistakes, but now what? Now what are you going to do? Because we can't change that mistake. It's done. So, it's about trying to find that strength within them to sit back and say, who am I truly? And where can I go with this? What am I going to do different?
Fascinating. You've written one book about your experiences as an umpire. What about another book now countering that as your experiences as a counselor in a corrections facility?
I haven't thought. The only other thought I had about another book would probably be one or two more with 12 more character traits to make it like a little mini series for that, because there's many more traits that we can play out on the field. There is so many. So I thought about that. Unfortunately, no, I don't think I'll ever write a book about my experiences as a counselor, particularly because that's my full-time job. And once I get done with that, I try to turn it off.
Yeah.
And that's why I get involved with baseball, and helping out that way is literally my way of having fun and playing and kind of taking away from that responsibility.
Well, you can always say to the kids, you better watch yourself on the field. Otherwise, in a few years, I'm going to see you at my other job. That might work as a deterrent. You never know, right?
Yeah, I got you. Yeah. Sometimes it does.
Yeah, wonderful. Now you said we've got these 6 traits we've talked about. You said there are 12 more. I'm not going to ask you to list 12 more, but what are a couple of the other traits you would look at?
One in particular, I would definitely look at perseverance. And the other part, which would tie into humility, which would be integrity. There are definitely a couple experiences, even from my own personal experiences, that I can tie into that, but kind of fit the same premise the way I have it written in the book. Those are two definitively that I definitely thought about.
Yeah. Yeah, there's so many lessons and so many characteristics and traits that you need to achieve in sports. I think you could elaborate on them like you have in this book and apply them to people's lives in general. Wonderful. I think you've done amazing work on this book. Before we leave you today, what do you hope the folks at home who read this book take away from it?
Really, it's really set up to recognize that, again, no matter where we're at, whether it's on the baseball field, whether it's in personal life, we're going to have challenges that are thrown at us. And I want people to understand that in order to overcome them, it's not necessarily anything outside of us. It's actually what's coming deep inside, and taking a look. And that's kind of where my, Honor the Diamond actually has a double meaning for that. Because not only are we honoring the diamond that's on the field, but your personal character trait, who you are as an individual, is your own personal diamond that is manifested through your challenges in life and what you need to do to get through them. So I have a double meaning on that, Honor the Diamond. But more importantly, I want people to understand, please find that way to trust what you know inside of yourself, what's in your heart, to who you are as an individual, and embody that, embrace that, respect it, and dare I say, honor it. Because the only way of doing that, that's the only way that life is going to come through, and life will tend to be a little bit easier if you do.
Great advice for sure. The name of the book is Honor the Diamond, a powerful reminder that baseball is more than just a game. It's a training ground for character, heart, and lifelong learning. Brian, thank you so much for joining us here today.
Logan, thank you for having me. I truly appreciate it.
I appreciate your wisdom and your insight. To the folks at home, I'm Logan Crawford for the Global Book Network. So long for now.